Right, Woody, the proud owner of the 172.
Yes.
I want you to reverse sell me this thing by telling me everything that's wrong with it.
Alright, so first of all, she's got a blown motor. No head. Timing belt snapped, so that's a good start. It's been in a front end collision. Always good.
Missing headlights.
Yes, missing headlights.
Tell me
Bumpers
what,
munted.
no bumper.
No bumper. Radiator mount and the radiator. The AC. Power steering. Reservoir is missing. Battery, obviously. Interior is manky to an extent. No speakers because they're broken. Seats are broken. The mirror switch has burnt out, so we need a new wiring harness for that. It's got many dents. The wheel well's rusted out.
Alright, back again. It's now Sunday morning. We're going to have another crack at the cutting effort on this particular unit here. So what I've got to do, show you around, is I've done a few markings. And this is probably critical. If you're thinking of doing this job, you want to think about these marks. Okay, I'll just come to the other side. Now I've marked under this line here because that's going to be our reference point, because this is this double reinforced section. Okay, so let's look at those. So that's reinforced for anchorage for your baby harness, we'll call it. Anyway. So we don't really want to cut below that. So that sort of becomes our bottom line. It may even protrude through, but the cut will be done under there. Okay, now coming back around the other side, you can see, taking the bumper off. And this void here, this area here, where I've made the lines, is what we need to get rid of so that we're able to get our two exhaust pipes sitting there beautifully for our for the 182 conversion out of this 172. This recovery point or tow point or snatch point, or I don't know, whatever you want to call it, basically it's to pull you out of the nuts if you get stuck in the peanuts. That there has an extra plate that runs right round it. So we're going to make a cut just above that line there. Okay, so that we're eliminating this double skin, because there's some strength in that, but it's just going to be pointless having it. We've got to remember that round here we've got some exhaust action, some fuel tank action as well. We do not want to cut either of these plastic pipes. Now I reckon I'm precision cutter myself, so I'm going to have a red hot go at not pushing too far through that little cut. But if you're worried you're not good enough, you don't feel good enough, undo that nut there. Okay, undo the filler, and I'm pretty sure you're able to just sandwich a rag or something up in between, just so you got something to work to and not a guide. You really don't want to cut those. Okay, so cutting there. And then cutting under there, and remembering fuel filler action coming down there, you don't want to cut that. Now looking back around here, this is roughly the internal line, so this hole, use that as your reference point. Now you might be wondering, why am I not completely taking off this? Well, I'm hoping this is a joined section, so 3 panels come. There's the outside, the underside and that front. So we don't want to take more than I need to off it. These are going to be hard to play with, but the one I want to show you is make sure this cut comes down here and along to there, and then try and retain. I'm probably going to make the cut back there, but the reason is, I'll draw that in a minute, is we want to be able to fold a flap up this way to try and fill in the void, because I think we're going to be short on metal when we cut the base out of the other car. So don't go madly doing a nice big circular cut. You're going to have so much more work to do. I don't have an objection to welding. I just have an objection to more cleanup, more prep up. We're trying to do this with the basic hand tools. So let me show you what I've got. So I've got my mighty hacksaw. If you shove one of these blades in, you could run down the road, get a few more. I'm not going to do too much cutting with these. They're good. They're mainly for demolition work, we'll say. Now my favourite tool, which you didn't see me here yesterday, which was the 100mm angle grinder, and I just put a third cut-off disc in it. So this is a third cut-off disc. You want to get these to suit particularly metal, ferrous metal. You want to have them as thin as possible. Now the good thing is they generate minimal heat. They generate minimal abrasive component when it flies around, so you don't end up with a massive cleanup. I wasted a couple of those. I got two. Here's an old one I've worn down. I think that was for stainless, but same idea. You want to have a set of these, safety glasses, and finally my other cut-off disc, which is one of these, which you put in a high-speed grinder. So that'll be what we're using. Alright, let's gear up and do a couple of plunge cuts here. And check and check again. So I think I'm going to start this cut there. It's be easier to cut. Alright, so I've made some more marks and cuts. So guys, this is a no saw zone here. Alright, this is your danger zone here, where you're likely to cut your pipe. I've got under there, I've checked it. It's not easy to move. If there's some super careful cutting, I should be right. But if you're worried, what you got to do is pull a couple of screws out. I probably could do it. 1, 2. Worst case, take the rivets off. Let's just see how we roll for starters. I'm not too concerned about that. All this area around here, there's no problem. There's plenty of space. I've dropped that thing. There's no exhaust in there on this one. So I'll sabre this one right round to there. I'll do an early cut. I'll do a plunge cut here. Again, no saw because you don't want to damage anything, but it's not critical. This is the danger zone over there. Alright, flip this round here, guys. So this is where I call the danger zone. This is where I could make a critical mistake that's going to set me back. It's not the end of the world, but it's just something you don't want to do. Take it from over here. Okay, let's see how I went. No holes. So guys, the challenge is to cut super fine. Remembering, if you watch the video back, you'll see it, that on the back of it they put that corrosion protection, sort of glues it together. So once you can smell that cooking, you've still got, see that stuff? You've still got a few mil, like you got a millimetre before you threw that. So anyway, that's that done. Straight to the side. Cutting with that, you've got no heat, limited, minimal cleanup, minimal repaint. That's the challenge, to minimise your amount of repairs and downtime. So what I need to do now is finish off this little lot. So turn it around here, because what I have to do is try and cut up there and across this, right, and then back down there. If I come from this side, I'll probably be able to do most of it with the saber saw, but I don't want to do this wedge here because I'm thinking I'm going to have to roll that up. You'll see in the next video we're cutting this to there, and actually I'll probably try and cut it up as high as I can. In fact, there is a fair amount of work there, I can cut it, but I just don't want to remove that. Okay, I want to leave that angle there, and I want to take it away from there, potentially bring it up a little bit higher, so when I put the new component in, I can roll this round to seal it up. So there you go, there's my cut. Now you're going to say, well, why didn't you cut all the way up further? Okay, so there's a lip underneath there, which is a lip under there, because I need something to secure the new panel to, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to drill straight through those and then anchor off at this level here. Now it sounds great in principle, it may not actually come about as the way I described it, but once you take metal away it's really difficult just to put it back for a little job like having something to secure to. So I've left these corners there and there, I've left that bit of rubbish, it's dangerous, but anyway, done all that. Now all these edges, they're not too sharp, well, that's a little bit, but using this cut-off disc method, gently and slowly, with extreme caution, there really hasn't been too many problems. So I think that's a win. The next challenge is to get the other one out. Alright, so here's Woody's first attempt at owning a car. So this is a white, I'll just do the recap quick. It's a white 4-door 1.4 with some bloody average paint, no corrosion, no 172, just a sad old 1.4 twin cam, 99 horsepowers and a dodgy throttle body. So it's going to get pulled down and salvaged for whatever we can off it. There'll be a few bits we need. Obviously we're using the front headlights. Don't know what we're going to do about this radiator circumstances I've got, but we'll work through it all. So need to salvage a few more bits for my car off it, but it's going to be the donor. But already inside it you can see it's got a full set of 172 interior, so that's what Woody's going to be putting into his car to replace the filthy broken split ones. So he'll have a nice interior, yeah, a 172 bootlet. So yeah, there's a bit of work there, but the goal is to get this thing out of my life. I'm just sick of it. It's just an eyesore. Remembering it has the drum brakes on the rear, so we'll pull the lights off, get the spoiler off. Anyway, all by the by. So what I have to do is use this floor to strategically install a new floor into the 172. So I've got a couple of ideas and I don't know how it's all going to expand, but basically I've got a mold, I've got a cut, I've got a design. So probably my idea is to take about that section out of this floor and then reinsert it on the top section of the other floor. And to avoid using heat and nonsense, I'm just simply going to Sikaflex it and rivet it into the other vehicle. Alright, so this is the Sikaflexed in version now. Like in the last final video, the last section of the video you saw where I'd installed it, check fitted it. It looked a bit dark. Now, the reason you do that, or the reason it looked dark, is because I'd been belting at it. So what you do, once you've got it all set up, before you Sikaflex it, you do, this is the step that I didn't show, you get you bolt it in hard, right? So probably one other step that I didn't show you is, first, after you go do the cut and you've done all your trimming and you think it's the right position, I then got, let me just put this phone down so I can show you. I then got what we call Metal Tex, or self-threading screws. Yeah, bucket. So it's one of these, and you'll basically find them on roofing assembly. So it cuts through and then it screws. It's very coarse thread, and it runs on a blooming, I don't know, 5/16 bit, whatever. Once you lay it in, you've got your height right, prop it up, then you just go around, bang, 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 screw these in to get your height right. Be careful again around the filler neck, because I did drill through and pour a hole into my filler neck, which I may have to replace. So never mind, it's just to be wary of that. Okay, then once you've done that, you've created a hole and a location. You can do some more finishing, more fitting. Then with it pulled into place, allows you to do your measurements back here, work out where you're going to do what you need to do. So I then started there, worked backwards, pulled it out. Okay, once you've done that and you're happy, sort of happy that that's right, do some more trimming, make some mark, do some trimming. Pull those screws out, because that's your set position. Do your final trim. Then, or as you pull them out one at a time, you can then plunge drill. You then drill oversize if you need to, or clean up that hole, because it starts like slightly smaller. Right, so it's just a little bit smaller than what you want. I think I use my step drill here, and the good thing about a step drill is that size is about perfect for these M6 bolts, but it allows you to clean up the burrs that have been created by this screw. So this does your drilling, and then you just do a clean up on each of your holes, both sides. So you take it out, do the clean ups, back side, inside, everything's nice and clean. Then you just simply get your bolts. It's an M8. Get your M6 bolts, which I've done, run around there, put the big mudguard washers on. Okay, these M6 end up with M8 centers in them, so it doesn't really matter, you can buy whatever you've got. M8 might just help move it a little bit. Pull it all up, don't sicker it, pull all those in, okay, around there. Then yourself a rubber mallet, something that you take camping, and you go around and you belt the final steel, because it's such flimsy steel, and then you can roll it into these little grooves. Try and flatten it out. So there's some punch grooves, but you can actually close the gap up a little bit more with your rubber mallet with the thing in place. Then with those final bits in place, fit that off, work out where you're going to drill these rivets. See, that one failed. This one I don't know what it went into. These ones weren't a fail, so that was good. These ones here, they went well. And I've still got some couple more to do underneath. So that's one tube of Sikaflex, 450 grams. Then basically pull the whole lot out. Once you've belted it, you're happy, you've got your drill marks are pretty good. Get your tube of Sika, run your bead of Sika on the car side around there. 2 people, drop it in. One guy needs to be underneath with the nuts and the washers, the bolts and the washers and the nuts. I do the bolts and the washers, you know what I mean. Poke it all through. A bit of a, put a bloomin' something on the back of it, a screw, a spanner on the back, and then from the inside here just rattle gun it all up, zap zap zap, and it pulls out. Give it a bit of a wipe. I was doing this in the dark, it's not my best job, but it doesn't matter. I've got to do this more sealing, because remember that this Sika 227 is what I've used. It's an assembly sealant, or an assembly Sikaflex for car manufacturers, and its benefits are it's got good, relatively good bond strength, plus it's sandable, paintable, so you don't need to worry if you want to spray paint the boot later, or you're going to go and change the color, or you're putting the cage in and you're going to spray the whole thing out. You don't have to worry about the compatibility of modern paints to this particular Sikaflex, so that's why I use that one. But if you haven't got that one, you want to use something else, knock yourself out. But that pretty much concludes the install and the conversion of a 172 with a rusted spare tyre well to a 182 mock-up. Thanks for watching.